The objective for today is I can solve a word problem using model drawing. So remember, our model drawing is when we use those 8 different steps in order to answer a word problem. So I have our poster over here, and remember, I came up with a saying to help us remember all of those steps, and it's what I use so that I don't forget any of the steps. So my saying is real, wise workers do problems, quit complaining about it silly. So I will first just go over those steps. Real is read the problem. Wise stands for who. Workers stands for what. Do stands for draw the unit bars. And remember, we have to draw the unit bars of equal length. Problems stands for plug in information. Quit stands for our question mark. So what are we looking for? Complaining stands for the computation, which is our number sentence. About it stands for our answer. And then we have silly because we can't forget to write our sentence with the answer in it. So let's take all of these steps and let's try some problems together. This week, you have a worksheet in here that you're going to use to do these practice problems with me. I have some of it set up for you. For example, I have the who, the what, and the unit bar drawn. And so as I'm going over these problems, as we add more to our model drawing, make sure that you're doing it with me and adding in these parts that aren't on the worksheet yet. Also make sure that you're putting your check marks down the side because all of our steps are written here for you so that you can just check mark it as we go. So remember, it's real, wise workers do problems, quit complaining about it silly. All right, let's get started on our first problem together.
Let's start by reading the problem. Lynn decided to sell some of her artwork. She sold 255 pictures. She had 307 pictures left. How many pictures did she have at first? All right, so now that we have read the problem, we can check mark that. Our next W stands for who. So who is my person in this problem? Well, you can see on your worksheet, we already have Lynn written down. The next is the what. And you can also see on your paper that I already have that we are talking about her pictures. The D stands for draw. So we are going to draw our unit bar. All right, now you are going to join in on these next steps with me. So remember the P stands for plug in information. So let's read sentence by sentence to figure out which information we need to plug in. Lynn decided to sell some of her artwork. Is there any information in that sentence that we need to plug in? Not yet. Let's go to the next sentence. She sold 255 pictures. That's important. So how many pictures does she have or did she sell? 255. So on your paper in that first box, go ahead and put in the 255. And sometimes what I like to do is on top, I'll write kind of what it was. So she sold those 255. So I'm going to write sold right on top of that little box. Now let's read our next sentence. It says, she had 307 pictures left. So is that part of the 255 that she sold? It's not, so I need to add on. So next to that unit bar, you're going to do the same thing. We're going to add on another unit bar. And this is going to be the 307 that she has left. So same thing, I'm going to write left right above that so that I remember what that 307 represents. So make sure you're doing this with me on your paper too. So now to my last sentence, and it says, how many pictures did she have at first? So I see that question mark, which tells me that I am to my last step, or my next step, which is the Q for question mark. So how many did she have at first? Well, I need to think about how many she sold, and then also how many she has left. So I want to know the total at the beginning. So my question mark is going to combine these two together in order to figure out, well, how many did she have before she even sold any? So this leads to my computation, which is my number sentence. And remember, I like to visualize this as a number bond. So if this is a number bond, I'm missing my whole. And when I'm missing my whole, I have to add my two parts together. So my computation is going to be 255 plus 307. All right, let's go ahead and add that together. You can add it with me on your paper. I'm going to use the algorithm, so let's start in the ones. 5 plus 7 is 12, so I put my 2 in my ones place, and I regroup my 10 into the tens place. Now I have 1 plus 5 plus 0. That equals 6, so I don't need any regrouping on that one. And now let's look at our hundreds. We have 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 is 5. So my answer is 562. Let's check off our A for our answer, but we're not done yet, are we? We need to make sure we do our last step, which is our sentence. So I like to look back at my question. How many pictures did she have at first? I'm going to turn that around, so I will say, Lynn had 562 pictures at first. Make sure you're writing the sentence with me, and don't forget to start with a capital letter and then end with a period. And then go ahead and check off your S, because now we have all of our steps of model drawing complete. Okay, let's do this next one together as well. This is the second one on your worksheet. So the R, our first step, stands for read the problem. Do you want to read it with me? Bryson saved $376. Connor saved $152 more than Bryson. How much money did Connor save? All right, we can check mark our R for read the problem. And now let's go to our first W. The first W stands for who. So who do I have in this problem? I have two people. I have both Bryson and Connor. So you'll see on your worksheet, I already have both of their names written down. So I'm going to write it on here. I have Bryson and I have Connor. Okay, do you remember what my next W stands for? It stands for what? What do they have? Well, they have money. So we have Bryson's money and we have Connor's money. Okay, I did this next step for you on your worksheet also, and remember it stands for draw. We're going to draw the unit bars, and we always start by drawing our unit bars the same size. So you'll notice on your worksheet that those unit bars are the same size, even though we know that one person has more money than the other. As we plug in information, we can make that adjustment in order to figure that out. So make sure your D for draw is check marked, and then we're going to move on to the P. Remember, the P stands for plug in information. So let's start by reading our problem sentence by sentence. The first sentence says Bryson saved $376. So my 376, is that going to go in Bryson's unit bar or Connor's unit bar? It'll go in Bryson's. So go ahead and write the 376 176 in Bryson's unit bar. Now my next sentence says Connor saved $152 more than Bryson. So I know the 152 has to do with Connor, but is that the total amount he saved? It's not. It's how much more he saved. So what we need to do is we need to add on to Connor's unit bar, because I know that these two are going to be the same size, but actually Connor saved even more. So I'm going to show that as this 152, because that's how much extra he saved. So now looking at this part of Connor's unit bar, do I know how much this part is worth? I do, because it's equal to Bryson's, so that part is worth $376 also. So now if I look back up to my word problem, my last sentence says how much money did Connor save? And there's our question mark, so we can check mark the P for plug-in information. And let's add in our question mark. How much money did Connor save? So I'm only wanting to know Connor's money. So I'm going to put my question mark linking these two parts of Connor's unit bar. Now the C stands for computation, which is our number sentence. And again, if I'm looking at this as a number bond, I can see I'm missing my whole. So I need to add my two parts together. So it's going to be another addition problem. So I'm going to set it up as 376 plus 152. Go ahead and solve this addition problem and then come back and check and see if you got the same answer as me. Okay, when I'm solving this, 6 plus 2 equals 8. 7 plus 5 equals 12. So I'm going to keep my 2 and my 10s and regroup my 100. 1 plus 3 plus 1 is 5. Did you get an answer of 528? Great job if you did. All right, now my last step is the S. Remember, the S stands for sentence. So looking at the question, how much did Connor save? I will say Connor saved $528. Make sure you write your sentence, start with a capital, end with a period, and then you can check mark your S because we are finished with that problem. Awesome job.
Now that you've done those two practice problems with me, today for your independent practice, I'm just going to have you do some online addition practice. This online practice is really helpful for those math facts to get you more fluent at those, and especially as we're doing addition with regrouping, we need to make sure that we know those facts so that we're not making those silly mistakes with things like what is 6 plus 7. So these are some games that will help you with those facts. You'll notice that some of them are the same as last week, but I've also put some new ones in there. So this first one, the skateboard pups, for this one, you're going to be adding 3 one-digit numbers together in order to make your pup go faster in the race. This next one, the addition blocks, that one's going to give you a sum. So for example, 17, and then you'll have to click the different blocks in order to equal that answer. And once it equals that answer, those blocks will disappear and you'll get a new sum. This next one, Zogs and Monsters, down at the bottom, they'll give you 3 different addition problems, and then you will use the arrows on your keyboard to make your little purple guy go find the answer. So for example, if the problem said 5 plus 6, you would move down to this 11, and then you'd click on the 11, and your little purple guy would eat that answer, and you'd get points for it. You just have to make sure that you stay away from this guy with the orange eyes because he will make you lose a life. The next one is Math Madness. For Math Madness, it will give you a problem, and then there'll be numbers in each of these tiles, and you just need to click the 2 numbers that would add together to get you that sum. And then our last two are the fruit splat and math man addition. Those are ones that we practiced last time. So there'll be an addition problem, and you either just need to aim for the fruit with that answer, or for the math man addition, you just have to move your little character to go eat the right answer. So have fun with these. Nothing needs to be turned in, but it is great practice for you to practice those math facts.